By the way, for more on the Alec Baldwin trial, criminal attorney Lou Shapiro joins us now. And Lou, as always, thanks for being with us. As you just heard, prosecutors plan on calling the Rust armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, to the stand tomorrow. And I guess the question is, who wins with her testimony? As clearly the defense wants to paint her as the scapegoat.
Right, so the prosecution was aware that Hannah Gutierrez-Reed is going to be that elephant in the room because that's who the defense is going to point the finger at. So there's two ways of handling it. It's either get in front of it or let the defense have their fun with it. So the prosecution is going to try to get in front of it. That's why they are the ones calling presumably the most helpful defense witness to the stand. So at least while she may not be helpful to them in a sense of what she says, because she's going to take the fifth, she's not going to place any blame on Baldwin, but at the same time, it takes a little bit of wind out of the sails of the defense when they want to be the ones to introduce that evidence. So they're just getting ahead of it and subpoenaing her to court tomorrow.
A dumb legal question from someone who plays an attorney on television, but not in a courtroom. Why would you plead the fifth if you have already been found guilty in a case?
So presumably there must be some loyalty that Hannah Gutierrez has to the Baldwin camp. We don't know what was worked out behind the scenes, what communications they've had. That's one option. Option number two, the less likely one, is that she's afraid that if she says something, even though she's already made a deal, she might open herself to additional exposure that was not presented in her case in chief. Unlikely, it's probably option one versus option two on that one.
Lou, involuntary manslaughter indicates that even prosecutors believe that this was not a shooting that was done on purpose, premeditated. What is the difference between an accidental shooting and involuntary manslaughter?
Well, involuntary manslaughter is basically just defined as negligence that results in the homicide of somebody else. It's when somebody fails to meet their duty of care that then results in somebody else dying. So the prosecution's argument is that Baldwin was negligent. He failed to use proper duty of care when he was handling the weapon. Anyone who handles weapons needs to handle them with care, caution, and concern, even if they're told they're not loaded, that they have to do their own spot check and make sure that there's nothing in that barrel. So that's going to be the prosecution's argument.
Lou, final question before I let you go. What role will celebrity play in this case? Because when we say a jury of our peers, they're also a jury of taxpayers. And in this case, they might be asking whether they choose to send an actor who is worth arguably millions to jail at taxpayer expense. Your thoughts on that?
So that's a very important issue that the defense probably got ahead of already in voir dire when they were questioning the jurors. One of the questions they would have asked them was, does the fact that Baldwin is a famous actor, will that in any way translate into your decision-making when you go to the jury box? And all those jurors in this pool had to have answered no to remain on that jury. Now, what really will happen remains to be seen, but look, Baldwin is not the kind of actor that is flamboyant in a sense, that seems to walk around presenting a reputation of irresponsibility. He's of the older type, more senior, more seasoned. He knows what's at stake. He knows what the jury wants to see from him in terms of humility, and I presume he's going to deliver that on his end.
Lou, final question, and I got one more before we lose you. His family members have been there. His wife, his son is also there. Or no, I believe it's his brother is also there, sister. Does that play a role right now in the jury's mind?
Definitely. It's very important for somebody on trial to have family members and friends be with them in court. The jurors actually take notice of them. They see it humanizes the defendant, because oftentimes we get lost in the courtroom where we're seeing someone at the table and we just get used to seeing the same scene every day, and you might forget that there's actually a human being in their life, depending on what happens in this courtroom, will be severely affected by it. So when there's family members and friends in the courtroom, it reminds the jury they're not just casting judgment on a case, they're casting judgment on a human being.
Yeah, Stephen Baldwin in the courtroom with him, his brother, also his other brother, Billy Baldwin. We have not seen him yet, but it is early in this case. Certified criminal law specialist Lou Shapiro. Lou, as always, thanks for being with us.
You got it.